Welcome to training from AlliedMatch, your learning and certification partner. We will cover training to support you working with people with various learning disabilities. This training will cover the Oliver McGowan training, which is mandatory. Oliver McGowan was an 18-year-old young man with autism and a mild learning disability who died in 2016 following inappropriate treatment in hospital. His tragic death highlighted the urgent need for better training and understanding of learning disabilities and autism across health and social care services. This training is designed to ensure that every person with a learning disability and/or autism receives the respect, understanding, and appropriate care they deserve. As a care worker, you play a crucial role in making this happen. Learning objectives. By the end of this training, you will be able to understand what learning disabilities and autism are, recognize the diverse needs of individuals with learning disabilities and autism, apply person-centered approaches to care, communicate effectively with individuals and their families, support independence and choice, recognize signs of distress and respond appropriately, understand relevant legislation and rights. What is a learning disability? A learning disability is a reduced intellectual ability that affects someone for their whole life. It impacts how a person learns and processes information, how they communicate with others, how they manage everyday activities. Key points to note. Learning disabilities are lifelong conditions. Each person is unique with individual strengths and needs. People with learning disabilities can live fulfilling, independent lives with the right support. It is important to note that a learning disability is not the same as mental illness. There are various types and levels of severity when it comes to learning disabilities. Mild disabilities, the individual may need some support with complex tasks. Moderate disabilities, the individual needs regular support with daily activities. Severe disabilities, the individual needs continuous support with most aspects of daily life. Profound disability, they would need constant care and support. Common conditions associated with learning disabilities: Down syndrome, Fragile X syndrome, fetal alcohol spectrum disorders, cerebral palsy, this is when it affects cognitive function. There are a lot of myths surrounding learning disabilities. Let us break down myths versus reality. 1. Myth: people with learning disabilities can't make decisions. Reality is, with the right support, most people can make choices about their lives. 2. Myth: learning disabilities get worse over time. Reality: learning disabilities are lifelong but stable conditions. Autism is a lifelong developmental condition that affects how people process the world around them, communicate and interact with others, experience sensory information. Key characteristics: differences in social communication and interaction, restricted and repetitive patterns of behavior, interests, or activities, sensory processing differences. The autism spectrum. Autism is described as a spectrum because everyone with autism is different. People have varying levels of ability and need for support. Strengths and challenges vary greatly between individuals. Some common experiences for autistic people: 1. Need for routine and predictability. 2. Intense interests in specific topics. 3. Sensory sensitivities to light, sound, touch, taste, smell. 4. Differences in social communication. 5. Need for processing time. 6. Literal interpretation of language. Sensory processing differences. Autistic people may experience 1. Hypersensitivity, over-responsiveness to sensory input. 2. Hyposensitivity, under-responsiveness to sensory input. 3. Sensory seeking, actively seeking sensory experiences. 4. Sensory avoiding, actively avoiding certain sensory experiences. Masking and camouflaging. Some autistic people, particularly women and girls, may mask their autism by copying others' social behavior, suppressing stimming behaviors, following social scripts. This can be exhausting and may lead to mental health difficulties. What is person-centered care? Person-centered care means putting the individual at the heart of their care, recognizing their unique needs, preferences, and goals, supporting their choices and decisions. treating them with dignity and respect. The social model of disability. There are two models of disability, the medical model and the social model. Medical model focuses on what's wrong with the person. Social model focuses on removing barriers in society. As care workers, we should focus on what matters to the person, how we can remove barriers, supporting the person to achieve their goals, getting to know the person, take time to understand their communication style, their likes and dislikes, their routines and preferences, their goals and aspirations, their support needs, their cultural and religious background, supporting choice and control. Everyone has the right to make decisions about their life, have their choices respected, receive information in a way they can understand, change their mind, take reasonable risks. Communication strategies. Understanding different communication styles. People with learning disabilities and autism may communicate through spoken language, sign language or Makatan, picture symbols or cards, written words, behavior, technology and apps. Communication strategies. Understanding different communication styles. People with learning disabilities and autism may communicate through spoken language, sign language or Makatan, picture symbols or cards, written words, behavior, technology and apps. In order to support understanding, you can do the following. Break information into smaller chunks. Use familiar words and concepts. Provide information in different formats. Allow extra processing time. Check understanding without being patronizing. Use the person's preferred communication method. Recognizing communication through behavior. Behavior is often a way of communication. Consider carefully what the person might be trying to tell you. Could they be experiencing pain or discomfort, fear or anxiety, frustration, need for attention, sensory overload, or unmet needs? Do not brush off their behavior, as this could lead to frustration and discomfort. The importance of independence. Supporting independence means helping people do things for themselves, building on existing skills, teaching new skills gradually, providing the right level of support, stepping back when appropriate. Use the gradual release model to support independence using the following steps. I do, you watch. Demonstrate the skill. I do, you help. Person assists with the task. You do, I help. Person leads with support. You do, I watch. Person works independently with observation. You do independently. Person completes task alone. Making reasonable adjustments might include providing information in easy-read format, allowing extra time for appointments, reducing sensory stimulation, using visual schedules, adapting the environment, flexible approaches to tasks. Technology and independence. Let us consider how technology can support independence. Reminder apps, visual schedules on tablets, communication apps, GPS and navigation aids, online shopping and banking, social media for maintaining relationships. Recognizing and responding to distress. What are some of the signs of distress? People with learning disabilities and autism may show distress through changes in behavior, increased repetitive behaviors or stimming, withdrawal or shutdown, physical symptoms, self-injurious behavior, aggression or challenging behavior, changes in appetite or sleep, regression in skills. Some common triggers that could lead to distress include changes to routine, sensory overload, communication difficulties, physical discomfort or illness, emotional distress, unmet needs, environmental factors, medication side effects, the STOMP and STAMP initiatives. STOMP. This stands for Stopping the Over-Medication of People with Learning Disabilities, while STAMP is supporting treatment and appropriate medication in pediatrics. These initiatives promote reducing unnecessary medication, addressing underlying causes of distress, using non-medication approaches first, regular medication reviews. How can you respond appropriately to distress? Stay calm. Your calm presence can be reassuring. Ensure safety for the person and others. Try to identify the cause, what might be causing distress. Use familiar comfort strategies. What usually helps this person? Give space and time. Allow the person to regulate. Seek help if needed. Don't struggle alone. Record and report. Document incidents appropriately. Reflect and learn. What can be done differently next time? You should seek additional help and contact healthcare professionals when behavior changes are sudden or severe. The person appears to be in physical pain. There are signs of mental health difficulties. Usual strategies are not working. You're concerned about safety. The person is showing signs of illness. Let us go through the key legislation that makes up the legal framework and rights. Human Rights Act 1998. Right to life, liberty, and security. Right to respect for private and family life. Right to freedom from discrimination. Equality Act 2010. Protection from discrimination. Right to reasonable adjustments. Duty to make services accessible. Mental Capacity Act 2005. Assumption of capacity. Right to make unwise decisions. Best interests decision-making. Least restrictive principle. Care Act 2014. Focus on well-being and prevention. Person-centered care planning. Right to advocacy. Mental capacity. The Mental Capacity Act is based on 5 key principles. Assumption of capacity. Right to receive support to make decisions. Right to make unwise decisions. Best interests. Least restrictive option. Let's move on to consent and decision-making. Always consider the following. Does the person have capacity for this specific decision? Have they been given appropriate information? Is the decision time-sensitive? Who should be involved in supporting decision-making? What would be in the person's best interests if they lack capacity? Safeguarding. Everyone has the right to live free from abuse and neglect. Be protected from harm. Have their concerns taken seriously. Receive appropriate support. Types of abuse include physical abuse, sexual abuse, psychological, emotional abuse, financial abuse, neglect, discriminatory abuse, institutional abuse, working with families and carers. Family involvement is key when supporting those with learning disabilities. It is important to remember that families and carers know the person best. Provide continuity of care. Have valuable insights. May need support themselves. Are partners in care. Building positive relationships. Respect family knowledge and experience. Listen to their concerns. Keep them informed. Include them in planning. Recognize their expertise. Support them when needed. Understanding different perspectives. Families may have different views about care approaches. Be protective due to past experiences. Need time to trust new services. Have their own support needs. Experience stress and anxiety. Supporting family well-being. Consider providing information about local support. Connecting families with other families. Offering respite care opportunities. Recognizing signs of carer stress. Signposting to relevant services. You have come to the end of this training. This training has covered the Oliver McGowan Training, which is mandatory. We invite you to work through the knowledge quiz to test your understanding. Thank you for taking this training from AlliedMatch, your learning and certification partner.